I understand they're going to meet every day. That is tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I understand that the purpose is to meet without a quorum and then adjourn for the next day to run the session out, and then on Tuesday sign the bill and send it to the governor. And I'm under this impression, I hope that I'm wrong, that the purpose of that is to not give the governor an opportunity to exercise his constitutional duty in offering an amendment. I'm asking the Lieutenant Governor and the Senate of Alabama and asking the Lieutenant Governor to help us get a quorum on Monday, and asking that he would sign the bill on Monday so that it would come to me and I would have the opportunity to send an amendment back, and such amendment would do this. It would have a 1% reduction in all minimum program funds involving salaries, 2% with other minimum program funds, and 6% and 2% on all other programs. That would save $14 million for a cushion added to the other 14, the amount we have now. That is, that would we have 14 million cushion now, and that would be about 11 and a half, so it'd make it 24 point and a half million, $24,500,000. Because next year, when the legislature comes back, they're still going to be $23 million short, which means that we are either going to have new taxes or going to have to cut back on some programs.
This is George Mitchell, WSFA TV News at the State Capitol.
Judicial article has many good things in it. It was sent to the governor on the last day. I had no opportunity to amend it. I could either accept it all or kill the entire judicial article. And I know that we have people on the court, and I know the governor and others are involved insofar as pension programs are concerned. But whenever the people of this state find out that some people, many people under this judicial article, can retire at the age of, say, 52 and draw during their expected lifetime as high as $600,000 of taxpayers' money without them putting 1 cent in it during that time, I think there's going to be some changes made about the pension program.
Any specifics that you would like to see the committee come up with?
Well, I would, of course, this problem it was handed to me different ways. It's compounded by the federal court order, the inadequate jail facilities, the overcrowded docket, which fortunately we're going to be able to do something about, hopefully in the very near future. But if we're going to have a legislation, I'd like to see them do something about the inequities of the Useful Offender Act, do something for the first offender who commits a non-violent property-related crime. We're talking about shoplifting, grand larceny, things like that, where the only thing they've done is steal, and there's no threat to the community, and it's the first offender.
It has not been favored by the makers of the budget. The Russians are ahead of us in every area. They even have a stronger navy. There are some specialties, like electronics, where we are better. Otherwise, our position is poor and is getting worse. Now, the outgoing Secretary of Defense, as well as the incoming Secretary of Defense, are not technical people. They cannot have really sound technical judgment. The question then is, to what extent can they listen to technical judgment?
I think also many people of the state, as are we, don't understand some of the figures coming out of the governor's office in recent days. About 2 or 3 months ago, the people of this state were told that education had, quote, gobs of money, end quote. That is, there was plenty of money available to do everything that was needed to be done for the general fund, to divert $40 million from the general fund, from education, and still have plenty left over for education. As most of you know, the legislature chose not to divert $40 million, but trimmed it to approximately $30 million. And now we're told there's suddenly a financial crisis in state government in the educational trust fund. We're told we do have a problem. We believe that the cut across the board that the governor is proposing in what we understand to be his executive amendment is fiscally unsound, simply because it does not take into account the fact that some programs were underfunded, as we suggested that elementary secondary was, while other programs in comparison were overfunded. We think if there is to be an executive amendment, and if there is to be fiscal responsibility involved in that executive amendment, that the cuts should be made selectively. That is, those programs gaining most should be the first cut. And new program activity, many people call it pork barrel, should certainly be the first among which items should be looked at.
I do hope that the next legislature will brace itself for being realistic, because either one or two things must happen next time. We're going to have a cutback in some programs, or we're going to have new taxes. And I believe that we can do without new taxes if we will be as realistic as we can in the allocation of those monies that taxpayers now pay to the state.
Action. Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Madison.
Mr. Speaker, I want to say in the beginning that
The House of Representatives shall compile all set.
the present budget that's being offered to you. The governor offered his help by way of an executive amendment, which I think should have been adopted. But it wasn't. So now then the question is, will we take the budget as it is, or blow the whole thing and go home without any budget at all? Mr. Speaker, and I'm one of them that's tired of the legislature being in session this year. But, Mr. Speaker, if I may submit this, if it's political expediency to get out of here now and pass anything, is it going to be politically expedient to come back down here next year and put on some taxes? That's what we're going to be faced with. If we pass this budget with all this fat in it,
I would like to, as an individual, not speaking for any member of this House, but to just say this to all of these institutions and to all of the departments in the state of Alabama that live from the general fund, all of the schools at all levels, and also vocational education. We have passed this budget, but tighten your belt.
Going to come with a motion to table that. If we defeat that motion to table, I'm going to then move that the House stand in recess at the call of the chair in order to give the Senate an opportunity to move the Senate.
The great challenge I see ahead for the university in these next few months while Dr. Matthews remains in his leave of absence and for the future is to maintain our obligation to the people of this state who back in 1819 decided that this state needed a capstone of higher education. And Mr. Goodell, I assure you that all of us accept that responsibility and obligation very seriously and will continue to try to demonstrate it in our actions in the future.
We will be probably convicting some people, and they will, of course, all sorts of questions under Alabama law is an entanglement of legal technicalities, whether or not, if you sentenced to the penitentiary, whether or not you can be confined in the county jail, just how many you can hold. If you begin to fill up the county jail with permanent residents, that is, people who have been sentenced to prison terms, then, of course, you bottle it up, and the people who are bound over who cannot make bond will have no place to stay except the city jail. And then if you fill up the city jail, a person then would be bound over who couldn't make bond. Where would you put him?
Well, of course, we hope the Civic Center itself, the type building, the plant design, and this sort of thing, the new lighting system that will be incorporated in that area of downtown Montgomery will be enough to do this. But we know that with the coming of the Civic Center, this will naturally attract other business interests who would want to utilize our facility as a asset to them, and they will come in possibly with another hotel or motel type facility, restaurants and other businesses that will co-locate in our area. But I think the center itself, its design, and the fact that we've not had a facility of this type in Montgomery will be a natural drawing card in itself and will pull people in.
One is legislation that would relieve the local governments of the matter of tort responsibility as is determined by the Supreme Court in a recent decision, which is very costly and very cumbersome to the local governments of Alabama, who themselves are in bad shape, or not, I say in bad shape, they're not in shape to be taking on additional expenditures of hundreds of thousands of dollars of insurance matters. Second, legislation that will, if it's necessary, to provide the possibility of using under existing legislation or amend it to the effect that they can improve the coal handling process at Alabama State docks.
I really feel like playing golf again, and I'm just like, it's like my rookie year again.
Got that confidence, huh?
Winning that tournament with Hubert at the end of last year is giving me enough confidence in my game, and I can get out there and I can enjoy myself. I can kind of freewheel now. I don't have to worry about making cuts. I'm exempt, and it's just, a whole new lease on life.
Money can buy anything. It can, guards bring drugs in to the prisoners. It can buy anything.
What other, for instances?
Well, food, clothes, legal work for other inmates.
What about conjugal visits?
Well, at Fountain, it could buy you a conjugal visit. $10 would be good for an hour.
Could you describe this for us? Have you witnessed this, or do you know of this?
Well, yes, I do know that there was a room that inmates were allowed to go into with their wife or their girlfriend, and other inmates would lock the door and watch for them.
How much did this cost?
About $10.
What about the strikers, the men who supervise the workers in the field? Explain that situation to me briefly, would you?
Well, they are usually the more physically powerful inmates that are backed by guards, and just about whatever they do, physical brutality, taking advantage of another inmate.
How? Did you see any beatings?
Oh, yes. Inmates, strikers attacking other inmates for not working is very common.
Did the guards see this?
Oh, yes. Guards are there. In fact, they encourage it. The guards really encourage animal behavior.
Racial slurs? Did you experience
Racial
any of that?
slurs, yes. Alabama prison system is virtually a powder keg right now. Black against white, inmates against the system against the inmates. I admit I was in prison for drug abuse sales. I saw more drugs in the Alabama prison system in the year that I was locked up than the last 2 years while I was on the street in Birmingham, and that's a lot.
Well, at this time, I present to you the...
Thank you very much indeed. Well, I don't think I would read into it any great political significance. This is a wonderful country, and the state governments, both the governors and the lieutenant governors, in my opinion, play key roles in the federal system. I have spent 15 years in state government. I have the most tremendous respect for the roles played by both the governor and the lieutenant governors, and I'm delighted to have a chance to discuss tonight with them problems which we face as a nation, and particularly some of my own ideas as to the importance of preserving the role, the freedom of action, the vitality, the initiative, the creativity of state government.
I understand that some of the hierarchy of the party doesn't get along too well with you, and I can tell you that much of the hierarchy of the party doesn't get along with me, so we do have something in common. The Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Nelson Rockefeller.
Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Well, because we had a great deal of knowledge about what could be done, and because television was making it very clear to everybody what everybody else had, so that they were fully familiar with the benefits others were enjoying from our society, which perhaps they didn't enjoy. The combination of this was that we responsive politicians, trying to react to what we felt were the people's desires, or what we, to be perfectly honest, felt might be something they would respond to in an election. And so we made more and more promises at all levels of government as to what we were going to do for people. And we have to be perfectly honest and say we've been through a period of 15 years of over-promising and under-delivering as a government at all levels. Now, I don't think we can blame anyone for this, because this is a democracy.
Governor Wallace.
The Vice President spent the night here in this motel. This morning he held 2 meetings with Republican leaders of the state and local area businessmen before departing for Columbia, South Carolina, and presumably to do some additional political fence mending in Dixie. This is George Mitchell, WSFA TV News, Mobile.
Primitively act upon a program that I believe, according to the experts, will bring some relief from the exorbitant rates being imposed upon the people of our state by the major utility companies. And I say that because those experts say that the only way to adopt other necessary legislation has proven costly to the consumer. In the special session which I propose to call, I will submit for your consideration a program relating to the determination of rates, including the rate base, the calculation and treatment of cost of operations, and regulatory methods and procedures necessary for a more effective and reasonable determination of the rates to be charged the consuming public. Working people and others of average income cannot afford a utility bill that in some cases exceeds their mortgage payments. We will have legislation prepared by those who know as well as anyone, legislation affecting the rate base, which will be of paramount importance to the Commission and to the matter of whether or not you can reduce rates. under the particular rate base we have now, the Commission provides a certain percentage of return. But if that rate base is changed, then that return quadruples. So you see, it is a matter of legislative action. And therefore, that last amendment in 1971 affected us adversely. But your governor was in the dilemma of that legislation involving other matters that we wanted in it. And effort, ability of the legislature, a good amount of time on it, and I've had more expert advice in my judgment in this particular field than I have had in any field, to the point that the utilities in our state, and I do not want to make any demagogic approach to this matter, because I realize that there are problems facing every business and every utility and everyone else. But I do know that
What are your plans?
My plans here in America, yes, I want to stay in America and earn my living in America as a medical doctor.
Do you have any idea where in America you'd like to live?
I like the southern states where the climate is warmer.
Do you have any idea yet where you might go?
I think that I have a sponsor in Tallahassee.
Here in Florida?
Yes, here in Florida. You know, nobody planning to remain in the camps, you know. Everybody want a job and get out of the camp. I myself.
Lại quân đội Việt Nam hay là không quân ta, nói chưa đúng.
Bây giờ là chưa định nói về, nhưng mà khi nào có thể là hòa bình.
They don't plan to go back Vietnam at this moment, but maybe sometime in the future.
Ask them, would they join the U.S. Air Force?
Dạ thưa quý vị, có ý định gia nhập không quân Hoa Kỳ không ạ? No.
Đó, quý vô rồi. Quý vô rồi. Kinh biết rồi.